Oh yeah, what's happening, everybody? It's your rewind. It's your black friend James here for my very first show on my own. All right, so as you know, we are doing Podmas, and so this is my first one on my own, and we're going to be talking about some of my favorite Christmas movies. Now, number of the movies that we're going to talk about, those were only television specials, so I wasn't around when they first aired. But everything else I have actually seen in theaters. Oh, and the last one we're going to talk about, I seen on TV. So, anyways, let's just jump right in with one of my favorite Christmas movies, from one of my favorite Christmas groups, or actually one of my favorite groups in general, the Muppets, baby. And if you have not seen a Muppet Christmas Carol, make sure you jump on Disney Plus. It is there. It's a fun retelling of Charles Dickens' classic. This film came out in 1992. So Muppets were still going strong right then. And I don't know, I don't think they were with Disney yet. They might have been already. I don't remember it at this point. But anyways, this is one of my favorites. You had Scrooge, played by Michael Caine, who amazing. You have the great Gonzo, of course. He's playing Charles Dickens, so he's basically telling the story. And then, oh yeah, no, never mind. So rewind. It was bought out. They were with Disney at that point, so I couldn't remember everything. Anyways, you had, of course, Kermit as Bob Cratchit. You had Fozzie as Fuzzywig, or Fozziewig, I believe they called him. And then you had Miss Piggy as Miss Cratchit, and you had Tiny Tim, and was played by Robin, Kermit's nephew, if you're not familiar. Of course, Rizzo had to be in there. He's hanging out with Gonzo. He's always just Rizzo the Rat. So yeah, this is one of my favorite ones. It's just a fun telling, a lot of great music. Waldorf and Statler, Marley and Marley. It's just a really great song. They're just trying to tell Scrooge, you're gonna be visited by three ghosts, and so they have this whole song about it. You had the song Scrooge. I actually was listening to on my way home. Like I said, I do have a bunch of music, and one of those songs is from Christmas Carol. So from the Muppets Christmas Carol, which is called Scrooge. So when I put that up, make sure you check it out. All right, let's get rolling on. The next one, it's always one I have to watch during Christmas. I hope you watch it during Christmas too. A Charlie Brown Christmas. Now, this came out in 1965. That was when it originally aired. And I love Charlie Brown. Actually, one of the cool things I did get to do, as you know, the Vince Guaraldi Trio, they actually did the music for especially this one, but they did a number of the other Charlie Brown specials. But for this one, it's been really big for them, and I have a lot of their stuff played during Christmas time. Linus and Lucy, Christmas time is here. The all the kids and everything. And so this is one of I have to watch during the Christmas season. I have to. I never miss it. Well, I'll record it at least, and then I'll watch it back. But I always got to watch this one around Christmas time. I actually got to record, or not record. I got to audition in the same studio where Vince Guaraldi Trio actually recorded this album. So I was actually pretty cool. I didn't even know, but yeah, that was something that locked in the memory bank. So I was like, oh, that's dope. I got to record in there. I didn't really get to see a whole lot, but just being in the same building, all the history, that was really awesome. All right. One of the next ones is another Christmas special that comes on every year. And if you haven't seen this one, I don't know where you've been. It's Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas, narrated by Boris Karloff. Now, man, like that guy has one of the best voices to telling this story. And the You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch, probably, like, his version, I don't know. I've heard a number of different versions, and some by groups I really like, but his is by far the best one out there, bar none. And so How the Grinch Stole Christmas is another one I have to watch. It's every time. It's just it still stands up to the test of time. It's crazy how good this one is. And for being made in 1966, so I mean literally like the year after the Charlie Brown special, and for it to still look eh, just as good, and like I said, it holds up to today. Now, The Grinch has done something that a number of Christmas movies have done, but I think it's been done the best. Yeah, I guess it's one of the best retellings. And the first one was another version of Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas, and that came out in 2000. That one was starring Jim Carrey. Now, at this point in time, Jim Carrey was still pretty big. I mean, he had Ace Ventura. He had I think by this time, Truman Show had, I don't know if it come out or it was coming out, but Jim Carrey was still doing a lot of big things. And so like this, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, like it was crazy good for what it was. I mean, you're taking this, about, I think it's like a 35-minute, 40-minute cartoon, and turning it into like almost a 2-hour movie. So how do you fill that time? And so they gave a little backstory on the Grinch as a kid, and then they had him, grow up, and then moving to the top of the mountain, all that kind of stuff, and the kids coming up trying to sneak up there, take a look, and all that kind of thing. So it actually made this film even more intriguing by giving it a more well-rounded story about why the Grinch didn't like Christmas and things like that. Now, one of my favorite iterations of the Grinch is actually one of the newest ones, which came out in 2018, and then that one was called simply The Grinch. Now, this one was done by DreamWorks, and it was done by Illumination, not Animation, which I guess they're teaming with DreamWorks now. I'm not 100% sure. Anyways, but this was a computer animated version, and this one was starring Benedict Cumberbatch, aka Doctor Strange. Now, I remember going into it going like, yo, how is this gonna even work? And I saw a couple like previews, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna give it a shot. So I went to the drive-in actually and went to go see this one. Now, what I liked about this one was that it was just a completely kind of new, it was a little bit different story. It wasn't, he does like, the normal stuff of stealing Christmas and everything, but he's also like a major inventor. Like I don't know if you guys have ever seen Big or Pee-wee's Big Adventure, but in the beginning of that movie, there's this whole sequence of how breakfast is being made and all this kind of stuff, and like the eggs and the toast going down, all that kind of stuff. This Grinch was also like that. He had, his stuff being made in the morning, and he has his own routine. Everything is set up. And so like that's one of the things I really liked about this one, that they used just a different Grinch. He's still ornery, but like I said, I really like the inventive side. And of course, my boy Kenan Thompson. I love Kenan Thompson. He does one of the voices in this film. Benedict Cumberbatch is awesome as the Grinch. So if you have not seen this one, check it out. Find it somewhere. Give it a watch. Trust me, I think you will enjoy this one. Just like all the other Grinch films out there, I've enjoyed all of them. Now, I got to move on. Next up, we're jumping to 1994. Now, that year was when the very first Santa Claus came out. Now, I remember this film, I was super excited for Tim Allen, because from Home Improvement and everything still. And it was this kind of weird story about Santa Claus. And so I was like, all right, let's go see it. So me and I think it was my mom and my dad, I believe we all went to go see this, and my brother, because he was born at that time. So we all went and saw the Santa Claus. I enjoyed this film mostly because it was a total different kind of story with a guy named Scott Calvin. So, he's already SC. And then, he ends up scaring Santa Claus on the roof. He falls off. and disappears. And he's like, so he his kid comes out, Charlie. He's like, yo, you killed Santa. And he's like, no, you gotta basically finish up. So he looks at the suit, and he's like, whoever finds the suit, will basically become Santa Claus. And so he puts it on, and so that basically becomes the Santa Claus. So he put on the suit. Now he is the owner of said suit. So, he goes and he finishes the rounds for Santa, and we meet some kids along the way, and kind of fast forward to the next year when he actually starts to gain a whole bunch of weight. His beard starts to get in. Even he shaves immediately and it grows right back. So and then like his ex-wife now is with a new guy who's he's a psychologist, and he's trying, he's like, Scott, this is really dangerous and stuff like that. You playing into Charlie's emotions about you being Santa Claus and blah, blah, blah. And, one of my favorite scenes is that he's at the park sitting on a bench, and this little girl comes up to him and is like, tries to start talking to him. So he's like, oh, okay, cool. And, she like comes back and like, this is what I really want for Christmas, blah, blah. And all of a sudden, next thing you know, there's just a line of kids who want to sit next to him and tell him what they want for Christmas. That's one of my favorite scenes of this entire film. One of my other favorite scenes in this film is Santa gets arrested. Santa got arrested, and there's a scene with him in jail, and all of a sudden it's the elf patrol base. I don't remember what they were called, but it was the elves come in. They had like the glasses and everything. They come through to break Santa out. It was hands down probably one of my favorite scenes another one of my favorite scenes in that film, along with the interrogation of Santa. But yeah, Santa Claus, if you have not seen this one, by all means, make sure, again, go to Disney Plus. I'm not being advertised. We don't get sponsored by them or anything, but go to Disney Plus, watch it. Actually, all three of the films are there. That brings me to the sequel, Santa Claus. Now, Santa Claus 2 that one was referred to as the Mrs. Claus. So in order for Scott Calvin, who has now been Santa for a little while, his magic starts depleting, and so he needs to find a Mrs. Claus. Now, in order to do that, he's like, I'll figure it out, kind of type deal. He goes back to see his son Charlie, who's same kid, luckily, and so he's gotten a little bit older, and so now it's all about trying to find this Mrs. Claus. And lo and behold, his son, and also one of the reasons he goes back to see his son, because his son Charlie has showed up on his naughty list. And as Santa, to have your kid on the naughty list, it's not a great idea, not a good look for you. So he goes back, and actually the reason why he's been on the naughty list is because he's been doing stuff at school to tick off the principal, whose name is Carol. I don't remember her last name, but I remember her name was Carol. And so she, I guess, meets with Scott. And so they kind of hit it off, and they build this relationship over time, blah, 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 go on, so on and so forth. And then then Charlie finds out, yo, my dad's dating the principal who, I don't like. And so it causes a little bit of friction. But basically, at the end, you know what happens. You have to find the Mrs. Claus in order to stay Santa Claus. Therefore, boom, that's how you get Santa Claus 2, which then takes us boop, 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 to 2006. And that was the Santa Claus 3. Now, this one was Santa versus Jack Frost. Jack Frost, played by none other than the fabulous Martin Short. Now, the escape clause, probably not my favorite of the Santa Claus movies, even though it does have Tim Allen, it has Martin Short. One of Aisha Tyler was Mother Nature in this film. Who there's like a council of what you call it, of the like the seasonal beings, I guess. There's the Easter Bunny, and you have Jack Frost and all those kind of things. Anyways, but yeah, this one is basically he doesn't really want to be Santa anymore, but Jack Frost has been trying to take over a holiday, and so he figures out him and Santa basically figure out how to do that, and he takes over the North Pole. And so, because he does that, he has commercialized the North Pole. So now people from all over the world can come to the North Pole, and they can basically pay and get gifts and all this kind of stuff. But it's taking kind of the magic out of Christmas. And so now Scott has, and so kind of everything's been turned on its head. So now he is just Scott Calvin, but he still remembers. And so he has to get back to the North Pole and get the snow globe. And yeah, there's a whole thing with it. Trust me, you need to watch all these films, mostly because they are great family films, great holiday movies, and they're all available on Disney Plus. Which actually brings me to the newest. It's not a film, but it's a TV series. This one's called The Santa Clauses. Now, we've talked about this one on Fat and Black. The Santa Clauses, it's a very interesting show. The kids, so in the Santa Claus 3, Mrs. Claus is pregnant, and so she's actually telling the story of what happened during that time when Jack Frost kind of took over and all that kind of stuff. But she was pregnant with, I'm guessing, the oldest boy there, and his name is Nicholas. And then the daughter, I forgot her name right now. It doesn't matter. Anyways, so this one is he's been Santa Claus for a long time, and he wants to retire, mostly because he doesn't want to accidentally fall off a roof and disappear. So but it's a great little series that they have going on right now. So again, watch all 3 movies, watch the Santa Clauses. They're all like, I've liked the show so far. The first, it moves a little slow at the beginning, but then it boom. Just like I guess there's been a number of Disney Plus shows that do that. They kind of start off a little slow, but then they start picking up and the steam gets going. So these are just a couple of my favorite Disney, and not even just Disney, but some of my favorite Christmas films. So by all means, if you have any other Christmas films that you like, please comment. Let me know. I want to see what you're into, because I want to give them a look if I can. You know what I'm saying? So again, thank you. I know the first one, it's always a little rough. I apologize. But man, I'm super excited. Can't wait to do a number. We got a number more days of this. So again, myself, we got Mark coming up. We got Tyra's going to be joining us. One you definitely do not want to miss. It's going to be the debate. We've talked about it. We hyped it up a little bit now. We got a debate coming. Me, Tyrus, on Die Hard. So make sure you keep an eye out for that. So again, Merry Christmas, Feliz Navidad, and anything. I don't remember. I don't remember any other ways to say Merry Christmas right now. Those are the only 2. But anyways, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa. We will see you guys next time. Peace.